We just listened to one of the best albums of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down. We're talking about Return to the Moon by Elvi.
Elvi consists of two indie veterans, Matt Berninger from The National and Brent Knopf from Menomena and Ramona Falls. Little side note, The National is Matt's favorite band.
My favorite band. So I went into this album a little biased, knowing that I would at the very least love the vocals and the lyrics, but I was very pleasantly surprised at how I loved everything. So they used to tour together. The National and Menomena went on a tour, and I guess that's where they met, and they've been sending ideas back and forth, like you said, and I guess no one really knew about it until recently, and this year they dropped their single, their self-titled single, Return to the Moon.
Return to the Moon is the jam.
Someone in a previous video referenced that song and asked if we heard it and said it was an earworm, and I think that's the perfect term.
Yes, because it definitely is.
Burrows into your ear and just, like, sits there and, like, comes back at, like, when you don't expect it, and it's
all
great
day.
every
You're
time.
just going to be like, Return to the Moon.
Careful, they're going to shut our video down if we sing it.
Yeah, sorry.
What's really cool about this album is that it has a very strong uniform sound to it, but every single song has its own life. Every era of music is encapsulated somewhere in this album, and it flows together seamlessly. There's no...
Matthew, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, that's because it's true. It's amazing how when people that are so talented, like the two of them, come together, they're able to pull the best out of each other and pull the best out of each other's projects and fuse them to make something that's so beautiful.
So, because of that, the album feels really familiar, but still really refreshing.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, here are my top songs from the album that you should really check out. I want to start with I'm the Man to Be. It's the second song on the album, and I liked it because it really shines a light on the ugly side of being a rock star. You know, going from hotel room to hotel room, not having that many people like close in your circle. It was just really nice.
It sounds almost like a Beck song or a White Stripes song. It's like bluesy and soulful, and the first song is like this like electro kind of like indie rock song. And the fact that they can go back to back like that and it's not jarring just shows how masterful their command of music is. They could just be like, this is what we're going to do, and it's going to work. And it does.
My second song is Sleeping Light. I think the lyrics of the song are so comforting to me. You know, every person in a relationship wants to hear that they're there for you. You know, you're just one phone call away. I also have sleep paralysis, so hearing this was, like, super nice to me. Here's the lyrics. If you're writing a nightmare and you can't go home and you want to come by because you can't be alone, I'll be right here with my hand on the phone, sleeping light. I don't know. It was so beautiful to me.
You read all the lyrics, I kind of just listened, so I'm excited to re-listen to it over and over and kind of like get more pieces of the story as it goes on.
Yeah, I think with him, with their all their play on words and their lyrics, I think you have to listen to this a couple of times to kind of like really get everything.
Yeah, Matt Berninger wrote most of the lyrics, I believe, and his lyrics are...
metaphorical.
They're very metaphorical, very dark, and they're very weird, and like... Everything you hear, you shouldn't take at face value, which is cool. So it's the kind of thing you have to like think about, which is awesome. That's why I love The National.
And the last song of this album, Careless. It's a very heartbreaking song and very truthful for relationships because someone always loses in a relationship, you know? And he was the loser in it. And it was just...
It's powerful, yeah.
Yeah, it was just very well written.
Yeah. We both really liked the song Silent Ivy Hotel, which is fairly early on in the album, and it has a very dark, almost like creepy sound to it, but it was great. It was very reminiscent of the rest of the album in terms of the feel of it, but it was definitely a standout. In the middle of the album, there's a song, No Time to Crank the Sun. It's kind of a slower song, very pretty, and it almost reminded me of a National song, and, you know, being my favorite band, I don't really compare songs to them too often, even though it's the same singer. The fact that the two of them could craft a song that evoked that kind of feel for me is awesome. Towards the end, there's a song called Happiness, Missouri, and it has a very Joy Division vibe. You thought it was...
I thought it sounded kind of like Radiohead.
Yeah. It had a very cool feel to it that I feel like if you're a fan of either of those bands, you'd really dig. The whole thing was great. I really can't pick a favorite song, but I can give it an arbitrary score. So, how about you go first?
I'd say with how well it was constructed and every single song honestly could have been a single to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it a 9.3, just because I know I'll like really grow with this album.
On first listen, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10, which I think is the second album that we reviewed that's been at least a 9.
Yeah.
I think most stuff has been below that. So I am not quick to give such a high score to anything, but this really, you know, spoke to me, and I loved it on first listen. Usually I'm like, oh, that's pretty good, I can't wait to hear more, but this was like, I was enamored the whole time.
And this is why we made Elvi the Artist of the Month, because we want everyone to know about them.
If you haven't heard of this album, you should listen to it immediately, and if you have, listen to it again, because this is definitely a contender for Album of the Year, and I'm very proud of those guys for making such a unique and, you know, brave album. It's challenging to put out something that diverse as your first album and be like, this is what we have, hope you like it, and I loved it.
If you already listened to this album, please tell us what you think.
Leave a comment below.
Yes, so please share this video, like, subscribe, talk to us, because we love that.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Sandy.
And this is Damn It, Sandy.